The JBL Pulse 3 is finally here. Announced back at CES 2017, a lot of people have been waiting for this thing to drop. Well, at least I have, especially since I was so impressed when I reviewed the Flip 4 a few weeks ago. So is the JBL Pulse 3 Bluetooth speaker worth the money, or is it an oversized llama lamp? Let's find out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of versus video, so subscribe so you know when I upload those. I'm also going to be doing a sound test at the end of this video, so stick around for that. As the name implies, the JBL Pulse 3 is the third version of JBL's Pulse lineup, a Bluetooth speaker with built-in LEDs that flash to the beat of your music. The JBL Pulse 3 went through a drastic redesign that I personally really like. You can get it in two colors, black or white, and personally I prefer the black version because I feel it gives the illusion of the light show just floating in midair. But the white version won't be available until September. This speaker currently retails for $199.95, and if you want to pick the speaker up, I'll have links in the description below, and I'll keep them updated so you can get the best deals possible. Like I said earlier, the JBL Pulse 3 has a very different design from its predecessors, the Pulse 2 and OG Pulse. The JBL Pulse 2 and OG Pulse were basically a bigger Flip 3 that just so happened to have LEDs underneath. The new Pulse 3 still has that familiar cylindrical design and passive bass radiators on the top and bottom, and soft touch end caps that we've come to expect from JBL, but it now has an acrylic top that makes up 75% of the speaker and houses the LEDs. The lower portion now has that tight weaved mesh that also houses the drivers. On the back of the device, you'll find the power button and volume buttons. Underneath the power button, there are a few LEDs that act as a battery gauge. The triangle serves as a multi-purpose button so you can control your music, but you can't go back a track. You can activate Siri by pressing and holding the triangle button, and you can answer or end calls. There's also a button so you can control the light show. You can turn it off or cycle through different light patterns. And JBL's Connect Plus button so you can pair 101 JBL Connect Plus enabled devices, which sucks because I wanted to pair 101 JBL speakers together. And under the rubber garment, you'll find a micro USB port for charging and an auxiliary jack. Seems like JBL doesn't have the courage to remove the aux jacks from its devices like Apple did. Is that joke played out? I don't know, tell me in the comments below. But with all jokes aside, I appreciate the aux jacks, so JBL, keep doing what you're doing. Concerning specs, the JBL Pulse 3 is using Bluetooth 4.2 and can connect to two devices simultaneously. Wireless range on the Pulse 3 is pretty good as well. It has no problem keeping a clear connection through multiple walls, and is good for around 70 feet with direct line of sight and nothing in the way between the speaker and your phone. And during my testing, I didn't experience any choppiness. Just like the JBL Flip 4, the Pulse 3 is now IPX7 certified, which means it's waterproof. You can splash it, submerge it underwater down to 3 feet, and it'll be fine. While the JBL Pulse 2 was only splash proof. And unlike the JBL Flip 4, the Pulse 3 floats, which makes getting it out of water a lot easier. I do want to point out that when I first saw pictures of the Pulse 3 online, I thought the top portion was going to be fragile because I assumed it was made out of glass. But it's actually a really hard plastic, and I've dropped it a few times accidentally and it's had no problems. Overall, this speaker is durable and you can take it with you almost anywhere, but keep in mind the plastic top will get scratched if you're too rough on it. When it comes to the JBL Pulse 3 versus the JBL Pulse 2, I really like how they updated and streamlined the design. It genuinely looks better, and the light feature looks much more fluid on the Pulse 3 than on the Pulse 2. The JBL Pulse 3 is now significantly bigger than the Pulse 2, and it's even a little bigger than the Charge 3. The JBL Pulse 3 no longer has a color matching sensor like the Pulse 2, but it still has the same color matching feature. You just have to go into the JBL app and you can copy the color of anything you like with your phone's camera. It's fun to play with, but this isn't a feature I really use a lot with my Pulse 2. One of the biggest issues I had with the Pulse 2 is that it was always hard to know which button you were pressing on the back unless you were actually looking at them, because all of the buttons are flush and in a straight line. The JBL Pulse 3 buttons are also flush, but its new layout makes it much easier to know which button you're pressing just by touch. But I still wish the Pulse 3 had textured buttons like the Flip 4. Battery life on the Pulse 3 has been improved from the Pulse 2. The JBL Pulse 2 was usually only good for around 8 or 9 hours of playback time with the light feature turned on. Not bad from the advertised 10 hours JBL claimed. The JBL Pulse 3, on the other hand, has an advertised battery life of 12 hours, but in my testing, I got around 13 hours of playback time with the light feature turned on. If you play music on the JBL Pulse 3 with the light feature turned off, you should be able to get around 15 hours of playback time. And you can charge the Pulse 3 via a micro USB cable and a wall adapter JBL has included. The sound quality has been vastly improved on the Pulse 3 from the Pulse 2. The JBL Pulse 2 only shoots out sound in one direction. The JBL Pulse 3 is now a 360-degree speaker, and it sounds really good. For starters, this thing has a lot of bass, and the soundstage is much wider than the Pulse 2. The mids and highs are crisp, and I haven't noticed any tinning in the highs, and there's very little sound distortion or raspiness when the volume is set all the way up. In general, this is a really good sounding speaker. The Pulse 3 has no problem filling a bedroom, and it covers a good amount of area if listening to it outdoors. But for the best sound, I would put the Pulse 3 in a corner. Like I mentioned earlier, the JBL Pulse 3 now also has JBL Connect Plus. Aside from being able to pair up to 100 JBL speakers together, you can also pair 2 JBL Pulse 3 speakers together and have them play music in stereo mode and even have light features sync up. Having JBL Connect Plus means you'll be able to pair other JBL Connect Plus enabled devices like the Flip 4 and future JBL speakers together and have them play music from the same device simultaneously. It's good if you want to fill a larger area with music, but as of right now, you can't pair the Pulse 3 or Flip 4 to older speakers using JBL Connect. I've heard about an update that's supposed to come out, but I haven't been able to pair my Pulse 3 to my Pulse 2 or my Charge 3. If I'm doing it wrong, please comment down below. JBL's mobile app for their speakers is among the best. Setup is easy and you can do things like manage settings, check your battery status, and manage multiple speakers if you have them paired together. You don't really have to use it that often, but JBL's app is a little different for the Pulse 3 and the Pulse 2. JBL's Connect app allows you to play with the light feature of your Pulse 3. For starters, you can adjust the brightness, and obviously the brightness of the light feature will play a role in the speaker's battery life. You can also cycle through different light settings. They all flash to the beat of your music, but they all do so a little differently. There's wave, jet, explosion, equalizer, rave, rainbow, fire, and you can even make your own. And you can change the color of each setting either through color matching with your camera, or you can use the color wheel. And if you flip the Pulse 3 upside down, the light feature will orient itself. Personally, my favorite light setting is either jet or explosion, but comment down below and tell me which light setting you like best. The microphone on the JBL Pulse 3 is also decent. You can take a phone call and talk normally if you're within a 5 or 7 foot radius of the device. I've taken a few phone calls using the JBL Pulse 3, and nobody has really even noticed I was talking to them through a speaker, which is pretty good. Overall, the wait was worth it for the JBL Pulse 3. If you're considering upgrading from the Pulse 2 to the JBL Pulse 3, I think you should. Aside from now being a 360-degree speaker, the Pulse 3 sounds much better overall. It sounds clear, there's very little distortion, and there's a whole lot more bass. The battery life has also been improved and is now IPX7 certified. And not to mention, the light show looks way better. But like I said earlier, I do wish it had raised buttons so it's easier to know what you're pressing. And I wish there was a USB out so I could charge my phone if I had to, like on the JBL Charge 3. But in general, I think you'll be really happy if you decide to pick up the JBL Pulse 3 regardless. And for your listening enjoyment, here's a sound test for the JBL Pulse 3. I'll be going through some different genres and switching between light features. Obviously, you're not going to get the whole listening experience of the JBL Pulse 3 through your speakers, but I hope this helps.
We're the ones standing in the sky. We take it upon our own allies. For all of the rules we abide by. For us to say our final goodbyes. We are the kingdom in the air. 'Cause all of the tones we have declared. The minds of the leaders are elsewhere. I ask you, does this sound unfair? You make it on your
Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It helps out more than you realize. For more product reviews and deal alerts, check out jimcaddy.net. If you want to support the channel, pick up a shirt. And I'll catch you next time.